Good morning. I'm Jim DeBogren, Interim CEO of the ARC of Florida. And with me here at my office in Tallahassee is Mark Swain, who is the CEO of ARC Alachua, and Alicia Linton, who is our new Advocacy Director for the ARC of Florida. Also joining us remotely is John Roper from the Emerald Coast ARC, and he is the chair of our new advocacy committee. As many of you know, the ARC of Florida started 70 years ago by a group of family members that wanted to make sure that their loved one with an intellectual or developmental disability were able to enjoy the same community life, the same experiences, and have the same hopes and dreams as everyone else. They refused to go along with the conventional wisdom of the day that people with intellectual disabilities belonged in a state-operated institution. And therefore, they came together as a self-help group so that they could be a resource to one another. Since then, the ARCs have grown into a national movement, including a movement here in Florida where we have chapters that stretch all the way from Pensacola down to Miami and all points in between. Today, we want to highlight a new initiative we have at the ARC of Florida where we really want to start going back to our roots. And that is, first and foremost, as an advocacy organization for individuals and family members. And in that regard, I'm going to be introducing the other three speakers as we go through the program to give you their perspective. Just a couple of ground rules. First off, there will be an opportunity for questions and answers. We will address those live if we have time during this presentation. However, you're going to have to type them into the chat box. So if there are questions, please feel free to type your questions and any comments you may have into the chat, and we will address those towards the end of the program. One of the big themes, of course, is the issue of direct support staff. Any of you that watched my comments from earlier today, that's what I focused on. We have, in order to provide for a life in the community, we have to have those community supports and services. And the way we get those community supports and services is through a network of community-based providers. Many of them are ARC chapters, but there are many, many more community-based providers. And we're all facing the same challenges, which is hiring and retaining qualified direct care staff, the hands-on people. Largely, this is a result of wages. To some extent, it's a result of some of the demands of the job. But when you combine the two, you have a situation where we are truly about to enter a crisis situation in terms of the service delivery system's ability to provide people the services that they need in the community. So first up, from Gainesville, Florida, ARC Alachua, I would like to introduce you to Mark Swain, CEO of ARC Alachua, and he is also board chair for the ARC of Florida. So Mark, handing it to you.
Thank you, Jim. I really appreciate everyone who's tuned in today to come to our virtual booth. Today's a very important day in Tallahassee where we recognize the importance of people with developmental disabilities as citizens of Florida, and we raise them up, talk about them, and also advocate and let you know from speaking with families and self-advocates what's important. I wish I had better news today, but we are in the middle of a crisis right now. In my role as the chair of the ARC of Florida, I have a unique vantage point where I talk to chapters from across the entire state. I work with executive directors that have been working in Florida for over 30 years, and they've never seen a staffing crisis at this level. And what does that mean? You know, the most important phone calls I take every day and the most important conversations I have every day is with clients and with parents. Parents are very concerned right now because across the state of Florida, they're seeing group homes and day programs, and in particular, group homes right now operating on skeleton crews. People working, direct support professionals, well over 100 hours a week just to keep the staff, the home staffed. People living in homes across Florida are experiencing great loss. Direct support professionals, people in their lives that have been very important to them for years and years are leaving, and they're not coming back. They can no longer support their families working in a group home situation or in a day program situation or respite within the state of Florida. The average starting wage is $9.50 an hour. These are wonderful people that lift up people with developmental disabilities every day. They have tremendous responsibility. Many people don't recognize that DSPs actually do medication administration. They do 4 med passes a day. They have electronic MARs, med cards. They're delivering controlled substances. They're monitoring seizures, all sorts of medical conditions. On top of that, they're doing implementation plans, tracking learning, behavior plans, tracking improvements in behavior. They're doing food preparation, housekeeping, emotional supports, transportation. This is a high demand job, and a job that is so important to the lives of people with intellectual and other developmental disabilities. To give you an example of how serious the situation has become, at my agency, every day, we have 50 full-time DSPs gone, and they're not coming back. Every day we start 50 people short, plus whoever is out that day sick or something like that. Tampa has 60 DSPs short. They're not coming back. At the Arc of St. John's, they're at about 50 DSPs short. They're not coming back. And what's happening is DSPs don't want to leave their jobs. They're being forced out of their jobs by low pay. And they're going to accept other jobs where they can make $2 or $3 more an hour so they can provide for their family and actually end up in a job that's a lot easier. They can go to a hospital, for example, and be a patient care attendant and just do one of the functions that they do in a group home and make much more money. So my message to everyone listening today, please contact your legislators. Please let them know how serious the situation is, and please let them know that people with intellectual and other developmental disabilities are paying the price for this crisis, and that we need and you need their support to help address the ARC's legislative platform this year, which is a 16% increase in rates, and for the next 5 years, a 12% increase in rates. And that'll achieve 2 things. One, it'll keep us within the curve of meeting the $15 an hour minimum wage mandate that was voter passed, and also help to begin to heal and fix a major crisis going on right now. So if you're a family member or self-advocate and you know exactly what I'm talking about, please contact your legislators. Thank you very much, Jim.
All right. Thank you, Mark. We appreciate that. Now, we do want to pivot just a little bit. As I mentioned earlier, we want to actually emphasize some of the advocacy efforts. So some of the efforts that we're undertaking to organize and emphasize some of the things that we do to be a resource to families and self-advocates across the state. And with that in mind, I'd like to recognize John Roper. As I mentioned earlier, he is the CEO of ARC Emerald Coast. He's also the parent of a child with an intellectual developmental disability, and he is the chair of our advocacy committee. So, John, you're recognized, sir.
Thanks, Jim. I appreciate that. I'm going to kind of do this, wear two hats on my 5 minutes. One is a parent. First off, I think it's important that we realize how important the ARC is to parents. You know, there's nothing more rewarding than raising a child with a disability, but there's also nothing that will wear you down quicker. You need respite. You need a place to turn to. And one thing about the ARCs is we try to hire the best and we try to retain the best. And we're very fortunate that we have employees that stay with us a long time, but it's, as echoing what Mark said, it's so hard to keep the employees we need and pay them what they deserve to make. They deal with a lot of issues every day and they make spontaneous decisions. And as a parent, when you drop your child or your adult child off at an adult day training center, you want to know your child's having the best care they can be given. And every CEO on this board wants to make sure that happens. As a parent, that's what you want. You want to have that safe feeling that when you go to work, your adult child or your child is being taken care of. So echoing what Mark said, as a parent, you need that break. We all love our kids. I love my daughter more than anything, but at the same time, it does wear you down and you need that relief and you need a place to go. And the ARCs, as we all sit on this board of directors and we talk every Friday and we talk about different things, is every one of us care about what's going on. We're very passionate. You know, I think that's one reason I got asked about the advocacy position, because I do raise a special needs child. And so I get to experience it firsthand. And so we did start an advocacy committee, and on our committee is parents from all over Florida. It's some CEOs, but it's also parents that have adult children and children with special needs. And we thought that was important because we need those parents to help us advocate for what Mark was discussing. Also, we need your input. You know, nobody can tell a story like a parent can tell a story about what they do. Every one of us can learn it. We can read books, but until you live it, you just don't know. So one of our most important decisions was to hire an advocacy director. We took the step to hire someone that would not represent chapters, but represent community leaders and parents. And so we hired Alicia. And it was an extensive search. It wasn't just something that was handed to her. It was something we felt she had the knowledge to do. Now, what is our goals? Is to advocate for the things Mark was talking about. Is advocate to get the direct service personnel that we use to the pay they need. That way, as a parent, when you drop your child off, you know they're getting the right meds. If they live in a group home, you know they're getting fed. You know they're getting treated right. You don't have to worry about abuse. You don't have to worry about an employee that doesn't care. Because to be in this field, I don't care if it's a CEO or if it's your bookkeeper, it's your receptionist, you have to care. You wouldn't be here. You can go somewhere else and work and make more money. We've got to get competitive with that. As a parent, I can talk on it all day about how it's got to be competitive. We got to hire the right people. I want my child taken care of. Just this morning, I got 2 minutes left. Just this morning, I toured my facilities, my board of directors, and our receptionist here has a special needs adult child that is a one-on-one. And basically, for 15 years, her and her husband did not have a date night. And she finally got faith in the ARC 5 years ago to bring Robert to the ARC. And this morning, she was telling my board that if something happened to her and Bob, she would have full faith in her son being taken care of by us at the ARC. That says a world about who we have here. And we're very fortunate to have them, but we need more. Like Mark, we're shorthanded. You know, before the pandemic, we was 250. Now we're 207. And we're just not competitive with our rates. So please, I would just ask the parent advocate, for your children, do the right thing. Talk to anybody you can about these pay rates. Talk about these direct service personnel, how important they are, because none of us know, no parent knows right now where we're going to be and what's going to happen. We want our children to be taken care of no matter what happens to us. So I just, as advocacy chair of the ARC, please do it. As a parent of a special needs child, please step up. And if I can help you, ARC of Emerald Coast, please give me a call. I'll be happy to talk with you as a CEO or as a parent. And just thank you for letting us be a part of this. And God bless. Thanks, Jim.
Okay, and thank you, John. And then next, and she's going to basically wrap up our segment of the program today, is Alicia Linton. As John said, we did an extensive search, interviewed some extremely highly qualified candidates. Alicia's background is what ultimately qualified her for the job. But Alicia has been with the ARC of Florida for several years now. So she knows the system. She knows the resources that are available. And I would like for her to, she's going to share a couple of videos talking about some of the current resources that we provide to individuals and to family members. And then she's going to tell you a little bit about what to expect out of the ARC of Florida. As you know, we've always had a strong advocacy mission, what we want to do, and we're already acting as a resource to people, but we're going to try to elevate that, make it more visible, more organized, and make more of an effort. So whether you're a self-advocate, whether you're a family member, or regardless of your interest, we want to be a resource for you. And with that, I want to turn it over to Alicia to help us close out our section of the presentation.
Thank you very much, Jim. So in my new role as the Director of Advocacy Services at the ARC of Florida, I feel very privileged to have been chosen for this because advocacy, self-determination is very important to me. As an individual born with a rare genetic disorder and with developmental delays, I spent many years of my childhood as a special needs foster child living in foster care. I was adopted by a very supportive family that was not afraid of the challenge of taking on a child with disabilities. And that's how I found my way into the ARC. I've been volunteering with the ARC throughout my educational career and then professionally. And actually, I started out at the ARC of Florida as the janitor. So learning, being able to interact face-to-face with the people we serve has always been a very important part of my life. And I feel very blessed to have learned from them. As the director of training previously, I traveled all around the state of Florida and delivered self-advocacy and self-determination trainings to the folks that we serve. And I learned something new from them every time I'm in a class. I get to hear their stories, what their aspirations for the future are. I love to hear when they tell me how they've overcome a challenge. Many of them, their greatest dream is to live independently. And I'll ask them, tell me how you did that. How did you get the steps in place and who was on your support team? And I have learned from my folks that their staff are so vital to them. They'll tell me their staff are one of their greatest support and their family members too. And as a person with disabilities, navigating the challenges in the educational system and then professionally learning how to be an advocate for myself, I really truly understand the value of a supportive parent and what they can teach you and how they can help you grow. And I grow all the time just from learning and interacting with other persons living with disabilities. And the ARC really wants our families and our self-advocates to feel empowered. And with that, we have a message from our national partner, the ARC of the United States, that I'd like to share with you. Okay.
Band together to know that my story matters. To know that my story matters.
People with intellectual and developmental disabilities
Will be included. I will be included.
The ARC empowers me.
empowerment
Is advocacy. I am strong.
I will fight
For disability rights.
disability rights.
Have a little technical challenge today with our video. Okay, back to the camera.
Right.
So that was a promo produced by the ARC of the United States, and basically what you hear there is
The ARC empowers my story matters.
Hit the,
My story matters.
People with intellectual and developmental disabilities
Will be included.
there we go.
Okay.
All right, now you want to go back to the camera.
Yes.
All righty.
Jim
Okay.
running tech support for me. We want our families and our self-advocates to feel empowered, and that's why we are really reaffirming our passion to delivering the message of advocacy around the state. And as the gentlemen have told you, it is very vital that we arm our parents and our family members and our self-advocates with the tools they need to go out and say, these are the issues we're facing and we need your support. Our DSPs love their jobs. I have witnessed them all over the state have such a familial relationship with the people they serve. They know their likes and dislikes. They know them on a personal level. And to have that kind of support and stability taken away from the people we serve is very upsetting to them. As someone who lived in foster care, I know what it means to have support and stability and to think that you're going to be taken care of and that someone cares and has your best interest at heart. So for our self-advocates to lose that is very upsetting to me on their behalf. And we really want to make sure our DSPs, that their voices are heard and that they are valued for the vital work that they do in saving the lives of the people we serve and being their best advocate. And then some of the other advocacy issues that we're working on and some movements we're trying to make within the ARC of Florida is we have an excellent marketing and branding team that's going to help us make ourselves more visible. Our legislative and lobbying team, as you've heard from the gentleman, the issues that they are working on to help advance our causes and to support the self-advocates and our direct support professionals. And we're also looking at some other things to start self-advocacy groups around the state, because if we're trying to advocate for people we serve, we need their voices and we need their input. We also are looking at ways to perhaps even start something as a Discord server, because we need to hear from the parents too. What are the issues in your area that you want us to hear about? What are those issues that you need us to advocate on your behalf for? Whether we collect your stories, your input, I'm here for it. I definitely want your input and to hear from you of how we can best be your advocate. One of the other programs that we run out of the ARC of Florida that not many people know about, and I'll share that with you, is we run a statewide dental program. We have over 300 dentists in our network, and the dental program really arose out of 5 years ago. We reached out to families and said, what is an unmet need that you have in the state for your child with a disability? And they said, we desperately need dental care. So we reached out and the legislature graciously gave us a special appropriation to provide dental care services for the folks that we serve, because they're not able to go to a regular dental office and receive treatment. Many of them need sedation. Many of them need multiple visits because of the discomfort or behavioral issues that may arise. And you need patient providers who understand some of their special and unique needs, whether it's a developmental disability. Sometimes it's physical limitations that our folks are not able to access dental care equally. But the ARC of Florida, we have branched out through our dental scholarship program to serve over 8,700 people through that program. See if I can get my video about our dental program to show to you. Okay. This is not, I don't know where the next one is. Here we go.
The clients are amazing. These people are incredible. They're so grateful for all of the help and the care that they receive, yet they're still deserving of so much more. We were researching ways to help our patients and working together with them, and came across the ARC of Florida, and they've been game changers for our patients for years now. The need is there and dramatically increasing. The need is ever growing. The people that need help are there and want to be helped. There's so many barriers and obstacles for them to find good care. To think that finances is one of the biggest is tough to deal with. It's unfortunate. There would be a lot of people in desperate need of care. There'd be a lot of families that were affected dramatically if the ARC of Florida was not there to help them. There'd be a lot of people struggling and in need, for sure.
I was in a lot of pain. I was having pain in the lower parts of my jaw mostly. Well, if nobody had been able to provide me for the services, I probably wouldn't have gotten them done, because I don't have the money. I don't have the transportation. My family can't take me because of my chair. I don't have a van anymore. My mom had a van. I don't drive, so the only transportation that I can depend on would be Lentz. And if Lentz comes back early, before I see the doctor or before the doctor is finished, then I either have to leave then or stay until they come back and get me 4 hours later. So if I had not had the help from ARC of Florida, it probably wouldn't have gotten done because I have no other way to do it.
To see your child, he's blind, he's non-verbal, and he never walked. And for him to be screaming, sometimes he screams non-stop.
There was a point that we weren't really sure what was happening to him because he has been bedridden for maybe the last 3-4 years. So we had to stop taking him to the dentist because he could not tolerate the wheelchair. So there's no way we could have gotten him to the dentist for the dentist to see what was happening. I thank the ARC of Florida so much for helping us with that one problem with his dental and all his dentistry, and I hope that they will get more funding.
Lots of funding. So
that they can help people, as I said, individually with their personal ailments as what Steve is going through. Thank you. Thank you so much. God bless.
The legislature, to the APD, to the ARC Foundation, and everyone involved in this program. From our family to you, we would like to say a very big thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all that you're doing to help us and families like ours to get this program going and so we can have a better quality of life. And from us, we'd like to say thank you.
We're really grateful that we're able to provide these services to the people that have lost the hope. We're thankful for the legislature, APD, the governor that are willing to provide this funding through the ARC.
Thank you to the Florida legislature for providing the funds. It's being definitely needed.
I want to thank the Florida legislator and the Agency for Persons with Disabilities for providing ARC with the funds and the means to help children like Jeremy. Thank you.